Taints to be abandoned by restraining. Restraining means sense restraint. Okay. Katamecha bhikkave asava sangvara pahatabba. Sangvara, restraint. Asava to be abandoned to restraint. Ida bhikkave bhikkhu patisanka yonuso chakkundriyassa sanguto huyarati. What does that mean? Here a bhikkhu reflects wisely, abides with the eye faculty restraint. Okay, you have to restrain your eye faculty. Yang hissa bhikkave chakkundriyassa sangvara asangutassa viharato uppajjayuvan asava vigata parilaha Chakundriya Sangara Sangutasya Viharato Evansati Asava Vigata Parilaha Nahonti. Which means when you restrain your eye faculty. Okay? And you here Bhikkhu reflecting wisely abides with the eye faculty restrained. While taints of vexation. So when you restrain your, say we are focusing on the eye at the moment. Okay? When you restrain eye with regard to the eye, taints of vexation, that means taints that would cause worry, irritation, anger in your life, and fever, that means create confusion and turmoil in your life, might arise in one who abides with the eye faculty unrestrained. There are no taints, vexation, or fever in one who abides with the eye faculty restrained. So whatever hardships, calamities, suffering that may come across to your life, if you unrestrain your eyes, by restraint, you can abandon all of that. Then there is no worry, irritation, anger, that confusion of actually seeing things without restraining your eye faculty. Because with the eye, you can see things that give rise to the wholesome and the unwholesome. Don't we come across in life that do both this? When you see a certain thing and when lust arises with you, is that a good thing? Is that a thing you have to keep looking at? No. If you see a certain thing and anger arises within you, is that something you have to say or see over and over again? If you are deluded by something, if certain taints arise within you and further develops, do you have to keep seeing that? No, you have to restrain your eye faculty. Then all the suffering that would have been there because of unrestraint of that particular sense is abandoned. So for a wise person, isn't this something he can do for himself? By mindfully seeing, okay, if I pursue this, if I keep looking at this without restraining my eye, my mind gets polluted. And the taints will be developed. And the taints will drag me to hell worlds, the animal world, the ghost world, because the taints are there. When your eye faculty is unrestrained at that given moment, you are nourishing the taints that would drag you to the hell world, animal world, the ghost world. So that's the danger there. So because now what are things now? We see forms, we see books. You can't read books that make lust arouse in your mind. You can. Can't you watch things that give rise to lust? You can. Can't you read things in the papers that make you angry? You can. And you see, like when you go on Facebook and you see things that cause you defilements in your mind, don't you? On social media, this happens. So you have to avoid these things without pursuing these. So there are things that you have to think, these are things I should not see from my eyes. These are things I should see. So you should see, read Dhamma books, look videos like of the Dhamma. These are good things that you should pursue with your eyes. And if you see a monk, and if you are able to have a pleasant state of mind, you are happy, you're delighted to see a monk. Buddha said at that moment you are acquiring a certain karma that will bring about rebirth in the heavenly worlds. Just the sight of a monk. If you are pleased by that sight, then that creates karma for a good rebirth. So these are things you should pursue. So reflecting wisely here abides with the ear faculty restraint. With regard to the ear also, he has to restrain the ear faculty. He should know what things I should listen to, what are things I should not listen to. Likewise, you have to restrain your faculty, ear faculty. Because in the case where the Devadatta, he taught Dhamma to the newly ordained monk and said, I know the shortcut, come with me, I will teach you the Dhamma. So they were listening to the not the true teachings. But because they were listening to them, Buddha saw that their taints, unnourishing taints were arising within them. And whatever taints there were in them, they were developing. So Buddha said to Sariputta and Moggallana Bhante, go quickly save them. Why? Because they were listening to something they should not listen to. They were listening to the Devadatta. What happened when Ajasatta, King Ajasatta listened to Devadatta? He ended up killing his own father. And the taints dragged him straight away where? To hell. Why? That is a heinous act to kill your father. He fell to that state because of what? He did not restrain his ear. Like he heard, listened to something that he should not have listened. So that is why with regard to yourself, when you also learn the Dhamma, you should learn the Dhamma because you listen to, there are many videos, Dhamma talks online. So you should see whether these are things, the actual teaching of the Buddha or someone else's personal opinions. If they are personal opinions, is there any value there? No. If it is the teachings of the Buddha, then those are the things you should listen to, the true Dhamma. So the nose faculty, you have to restrain. The tongue faculty, you have to restrain. There's a case I remember that is something that happened in Sri Lanka. A person, he was very greedy for meat. He was addicted to meat. He could not eat anything without if there was not meat there. So one day he came home. So every day his wife would cook him something meat, like some meat, some type of meat, or else he would not eat. So that day there was nothing to be cooked. So he got angry. So he went out. There was a cow. So they reared cow maybe. Somehow there was a cows in the house. He straight away went there, pulled out the tongue of the cow and cut it. And brought it in and gave it to the wife. Okay, cook this. She's very scared of him. What to do? See, because he's a drunkard also. She cooked for him the tongue. The moment he was, see the pain of the cow, and from the moment when you think if your tongue was pulled out and cut off like that. So the moment he took the plate to eat the meat, his tongue fell out. This is something that happened in Sri Lanka. Then and there his tongue fell out. Karma. Ditta Dhamma Vedini Karma. Karma that bears fruit in this very life. They said the Sutta, no? That's what happened. So why he didn't restrain his tongue faculty? Gluttony is something that you should not have in life because it creates a lot of bad karma. So you have to be moderate in your eating. You should know why you consume food. So gluttony is something you should not have. Greediness you should abandon. That is why you have to restrain the tongue faculty and you have to restrain the body faculty. So if you engage in sexual misconduct, is that restraining the body faculty? No. That is why take up that precept. Because there is pleasure in sexual misconduct. Isn't there pleasure? There is pleasure. But what happens? The taints grow. And they drag you to hell worlds. And they drag you to places for you to suffer. Do you remember the story of Isidasya? Arahantnan Isidasya? She became an Arahant. And she recollected her past lives. And she said of the past karma, bad karma, evil karma she had done. And I have the verses here. This is how she said. I can recollect my last 7 births, she says. The pain I have been experienced was the result of an evil action done by me in those past lives. I will explain it to you. Please listen attentively because in her life she suffered a lot. 7 lives ago, so she's now become an Arhat and she's talking about a past life. 7 lives ago in the city of Erakacha, I was a wealthy goldsmith. So uh, he was a young man, okay, handsome young man. Now it's a lady in this life, but that life he was a young man. I was a wealthy goldsmith, intoxicated by my pride and my youth. I engaged in sexual misconduct with the wives of others. So he was a womanizer. When I passed away from that life, I immediately fell into hell. I was boiled in hell for a long time. Once I escaped from the life in hell, I was reborn in the womb of a female monkey. Next slide. 7 days after my birth, an elder monkey, the leader of the herd, castrated me. This was the result of that evil action of seducing the wives of others. Okay? I passed away from that life and I was reborn in the womb of a one-eyed lame female goat in the cinder forest. She was born in the womb of a goat. There too I was castrated because goats are also castrated. I walked for 12 years carrying kids on my back. My wound was worm infested. What wound? There was a wound found when she was castrated, that goat. My wound was worm infested and the disease worsened. This was the result of that evil action of seducing the wives of others. So no leniency with regard to the karma, no respite. Again and again he had to suffer. I passed away from that life and was reborn in the womb of a cow belonging to a cattle dealer. I was a reddish calf. In the 12th month after my birth, I was castrated because cows are also castrated. I plowed the earth, dragging a heavy plow and pulling a heavy cart. I became blind and diseased. This was the result of that evil action of seducing the wives of others. So you see, this is engaging in sexual misconduct. That is why Buddha says, restrain your body. Okay, that is with regard to, there is one thing. Like there are other things you do evil things with your body, no? Stealing, killing, all this, that is not restraining your body. So you have to in this way restrain, or else you are fueling the taints that because he acquired a lot of bad karma. This person, he in that life as the merchant, no goldsmith, because he was intoxicated by pride in his youth. He was a young, handsome young man that day, in that life. And maybe few hours of pleasure, few days, years of pleasure, but throughout the samsara, he suffered a lot because he had fueled the taints, kamastra, bhavastra, avidyastra. So with the mind faculty also, you have to restrain the mind faculty. Likewise, that means what are things you should think and should not think. So so then when you restrain in this taints of vexation, fever might arise in one who abides with the faculties unrestrained. These these taints will not arise within you when you restrain your faculties. These are called the taints that should be abandoned by restraining. Sangvara pahatabba. Okay. There's a Dhamma verse. No, you have heard the Chakuna Sangaro Sadhu. Sadhu Sotena Sangaro. Ganena Sangaro Sadhu. Sadhu Divaya Sangaro. Restraint in the eye is good. Good is restraint in the ear. Restraint in the nose is good. Good is restraint in the tongue. Kayena Sangaro Sadhu. Sadhu Achaya Sangaro. Manasa Sangaro Sadhu. Sadhu Sabbat Sangaro. Sabbat Sangaro Bhikkhu. Sabba Dukkha Pamuchati. Restraint in body is good. Good is restraint in speech. Restraint in mind is good. Good is restraint in all the senses. A bhikkhu restrained in all the senses is freed from all suffering. See? How nice, how beautiful and clear are the teachings of the Buddha. So if we restrain our senses, then we can free ourselves from suffering.